It is 6 o'clock, July 2nd, 2025, regular council meeting here at the community building in Musquash. It will now call to order. And roll call, seeing all council is present. Declaration conflict of interest, they can declare now. Seeing none. Addition, deletion, approval of the agenda. We do have two items that I will need a motion from council for. One is supplemental invoice list. Also a resolution to UMNB.
And the appointment to public safety.
And the appointment, that's what I thought that one was. Appointment to Public Safety Committee. Can do a motion for all three to add them if somebody wants.
I'll move that we add all three to the agenda.
Okay, seconded,
Okay.
seconded, Councilor Dealey. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried. Approval of the minutes, we will need a motion for a regular council meeting of June 4th, 2025, and committee of the whole meeting, June 18th, 2025.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes as written.
Moved by Councilor Bent, seconded by Councilor Thompson. Question on the motion? All those in favor? Contrary minded. Presentation of council, we have none tonight. Business arising from the minutes, old business, 7A. Municipal Capital Borrowing Board update. Yeah, I seen December 31st, 2024.
Yes,
Correct.
that is correct. That's, this is just information. I know we discussed it briefly at committee of the whole. It's, more just to make the public aware that, we've been conditionally approved for the borrowing for a new fire truck. It's just, we have to submit our financial statements from last year and they are in the process of being drafted, so. It's coming.
All right. Any questions on that? Well, I'm not gonna go by numbers because we're misnumbered here. But mine is.
Yeah, same.
So department reports, general government report, mayor's report, mine was submitted. I do have a couple notes on it. And then I'll take questions on it. One, last Thursday at the RSC meeting, I presented two letters to the board. One for the heavy retaining of the heavy tax, industrial tax, and one of support for nuclear, and so it revolved, I think, nuclear, Point Lepreau 2 or second reactor, as well as small modular reactors. And I'm pleased to say, and I'd like to thank all the board. We had unanimous consent from the board of all the mayors that they supported both letters. We are getting them signed by the executive director of the RSC on behalf of the board, sent back, and we're going to send them off. One goes to the premier and one's going to Prime Minister Kern. So that was good news. DTI bridge. Actually, I think we got a couple updates, but one, the bridge en route 790, so the bridge in Chance Harbor. Just so people know, because we have been getting calls and stuff on it, so just, we did receive that they were capital budget items. They were taking off capital budget. So they were not being done as of this date. They won't be done this year, those two items. So we did write a letter, as everyone knows, to the Minister of Transportation, and we have not received anything. Well, we did late or today about the meeting.
Oh, trying to set up. a
Right,
meeting,
so-
but that wasn't the one.
Right, so we're not getting good responses back, so we got an email back asking if we wanted to do a Teams meeting at some point, and we flatly said no. That it has to be an in-person meeting by the minister and he has to be here. Or we go to Fredericton, but he has to understand that this is not something that we're taking lightly, these two items. They were told and have been told for many, many years to be done, and they should be done. And that's the bottom line, so we will await the minister's response, and if we don't get one in the next few days or by next week, then we will continue on with other items. We will reach out to public safety and the premier and media or whoever we need to. I think that was the only two items that I had. The other one was the and I'm not getting mad, but the damn road in Musquash, so as you guys are aware, we were made aware of the letter of, so Linda did reach out to DTI. We did get a response back from them on that. And I will let Linda,
Oh, no, let me try to,
well, I can, so the response,
I'm gonna pull it up because
Okay.
I can't remember it.
because the response, most of it, I guess the gist of it is they are going to, they tried to give some advance notice for it to try to work with the homeowners on there before the snow season to try to come up with some kind of a resolution or make it easier on them than what it was. So I did have a few, I actually went up to the Van Road. I took some pictures and video. I drove it a couple times. I had 2 or 3 concerns of the road. And not because of the homeowners, but because of TTI and the lack of work that was done on it for the last, I'm gonna say decade. Don't hold me on those, but it's been a long time.
Okay, I've just pulled up my email here. I did reach out and then had to follow up and kind of remind them that I had reached out
Hmm.
originally. He said it is a private road that falls under the list of grandfather roads for which DTI continues to provide limited maintenance, including yearly grading and snow removal and ice control. However, the service is contingent on the road being in a condition that allows our crews to safely perform these tasks. And then he goes on to, discuss the safety concerns with the road, which is the road surface, the ditching, and some bushes, probably more than some, but like brush cutting and things. And that these things need to be completed so they prevent risk of damage to DTI's equipment and limits further deterioration of the road. Now, I did respond with that and ask, is it common? Or like, because they did share the policy and I said, well, is it common for you to not provide notice? I said, I respect that you gave them the letter in May. But I mean, is there a policy for how much notice you're supposed to give them? And he said, probably the last time it was looked at was in 2013. But this notice that they gave them now is to kind of serve as that opportunity to get the road fixed before winter. So that's not really a resolution that anybody was hoping for, but it is a little bit of illumination on the situation itself.
So are they saying that if the homeowners were to brush cut and have that graded, that they would get snow removal?
Yeah, they have to bring it back up to that standard where it's safe for the equipment to be on and I'm sure Mark or most likely Mark would come down and point out what needs to be done to bring that road back to a condition where people can have it plowed again.
So is that up to us to go and tell the homeowners that, or is that, does DTI express that? We didn't get that from that letter, did we?
No, it would be, I assume, for us to go back to them and say, like, we can arrange a situation for you to meet with these people to see what needs to be done. Because it is something that appears to be able to be remedied at this point.
And again, if we had a good working atmosphere with the current government, this would be a conversation to have with the minister to try to make that some sort of to rectify it.
Mhm.
But again, at this time, it seems or gives the appearance, am I sounding way too political? That the relationship between us and government seems to be somewhat tattered or not fully the way it should be. I guess if that's a lack of,
Not open communication.
right. So I think if we can mend that or get back on track to the way it used to be, then I think we could come to some agreement or negotiate something that benefits everybody, but collaboration has to work both ways. And then when you don't have that from, some, then
So what do we have to do to bring back that relationship?
so I
Have they
don't,
stated that or that we can repair it or?
Oh, nobody's said that we can't
haven't-
repair it, so I think there is an opportunity, it's just, I think and this has nothing to do with, I'll say the road in particular.
No.
I think the road situation you can fix, maybe get a checklist or whatever meeting. I think what the mayor's referring to is we just need the people in the room to say, okay, we really need to fix our working relationship here. Because this isn't kind of what we had hoped it would look like.
And on that note, we did have a good meeting today with UMNB, with Brianna, a really good meeting. And she took a lot of my frustration, away from that to take further, to have and she did tell me that, in all fairness, to even us or this council, it's not just Fundy Shores. She said that she's been hearing that a lot across the province, and especially with smaller municipalities. It just seems to be, yeah. So anyway, I won't call them all out right now, but I just think we need to all get to the table and start getting some work done, and I think we can. It's just they have to be willing to
Come to the table
come to the
with an
table.
open mind.
And again, this council has, I've said everything from every time I talk to any of them is, we've always from day one. Been open and willing to move forward. I mean, it's our motto is open for business, and we are. But we can't be open for business when we keep getting roadblocks and so. So on that, that's everything I believe on my report. Those are the three big things that I wanted to hit. There was a fair amount of meetings that I attended on there, so if anybody has any questions, I can take them for sure. And if not, we will move on to councilors' reports. Deputy Mayor Sonia.
Online.
Anything for committee? Did you want to do that now, or did you guys?
I had one meeting, 2 meetings, 2 meetings on, and it's all planning for the festival.
Councilor Bennett.
Mine's online as well.
And anything for committees to report for?
No, the meeting's still here tomorrow night,
Yes,
and it is here.
Yeah,
Right,
6
at this
p.m.
one.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Councilor Dealey.
Submitted my report online. And, had 7 or 8 different, meetings, and my last one was attending the CBDC annual general meeting at Lily Lake. It was informative. And had some correspondence with some community members looking for some assistance. Some of it we really don't look after as council, but still trying to reach out to help them. And we did have some concern about the intersection again at the 790 and 795. And at the Musquash end. And I was called today by the MLA's office there, to file a complaint as well. So hopefully that goes in the right direction. And as for the Recreation Destination and Development Committee, we, as Heather said, we're just working on the upcoming festival, getting everything scheduled and trying to make the final purchases for that. And we have another meeting coming up in August the 5th, and bingo is July 11th this month.
All right. Just one quick question. The 797, that's the corner of the, okay. Just wanted to be sure I had it right.
Are you talking about one?
Chancellor, but
Oh, right.
That's the one, yeah.
175 and 7.
no, 795 and 790.
Okay.
795 is the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 175 is
Oh, I
the little pro
didn't-
corner.
Yeah, stop at the
Somewhere. Oh,
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure I wrote it down right. So it's up here.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Thought
Okay.
it was confused
Yeah.
there.
Nope, not a problem. Councilor Thompson.
I submitted both reports for rec committee and board, and I did have discussions, as you mentioned earlier, of the bridge with
Okay.
individuals. And I'm working away on setting up vendors for our farmers market for festival days. Contact people.
Anybody have any questions on any of the committees or the reports? Seeing none, we'll move on. CAO report is attached in online.
I did have comments to add. If you want to do the motion first.
Yeah.
Matt and John.
So I'll look for a motion to accept the CAO report.
I'll make a motion to accept the report as
Moved by Councillor Deely, seconded by Deputy Mayor
Yeah.
Sonia.
Yeah, that's.
No fighting. Okay. Questions on the report?
Actually, it wasn't listed on the report. It was our application regarding the wildland urban fire interface application that I made. Was contacted today by the people responsible for that grant. And because the Regional Service Commission had put in for it, they want all of the communities that individually put in. I shouldn't say all, like it was St. Stephen, Eastern Charlotte and us that put in for the grant individually to come under the regional umbrella for that report. So there was some back and forth on that today, and essentially that's where that is they've pulled us all in under that one regional one, and the scope of work would still be what we wanted. And each community, it was reworking it on the fly to make sure that we could make our application the most impactful. So each community would essentially have its own chapter in the report. Fingers crossed it's approved. Our portion that we applied for education, I found out later this afternoon that education doesn't qualify right now for it. It will for next year. So we can still do an education portion of it. It just would be at our expense, which is, we could make pretty nominal. So fingers crossed it gets approved, but I did want to draw that attention to that before anything else happened with it. I kind of think that's it for today anyway.
I think so. Just for those that are watching, just because we are live, that this is 100% grant. It's funded not by Fundy Shores or by the RSC per se. It's all approved through government, so it's not costing anybody or not the taxpayers, I guess, for Fundy Shores any extra money.
So is it through public safety?
Fire Smart NB, which I believe is under natural resources.
Okay, because
Yeah,
we usually get a
that's right.
small grant from them at the fire hall to put on a educational thing.
Yeah, no, it's DNR. It's in my regional.
Yeah.
Report there from Thursday night. That's who it was. It's DNR.
But I mean, I know I had been approached by Margaret Maloney, as she does a lot of the community outreach for some of that. And so when I applied, I made sure we included education, but I will need to reach out to her after tonight's meeting just to say, we might have to look at the education portion a little different, but there is still money available in our civic engagement money to make something like that happen.
It's nice to see them being proactive.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good thing. And I said that actually at the RSC meeting because I wanted to make sure that when they put in for it, and I knew we put in for it, I wanted to make sure that they would coincide together and not one take away from the other. And that was my biggest thing. I didn't want to see them spend money and us spend, or two different grants going out for it and getting the same thing. So I think after we got confirmation back today of what we wanted within it, I think the RSC one is going to be benefit. That's going to benefit us. So, yeah. Anything else on the CAO report? So all those in favor? I guess I forgot to. Contrary Monday. Motion carried. Planning director's report, June reports attached and it's been submitted online. Looking for a motion to accept that report.
second submitted.
Moved by Councillor Deely, seconded by Councillor Van. Questions?
I just wanted to make a comment that I noticed there were a lot more entries in this last month. And one thing I did notice in my neighborhood, there's a cottage that has a development permit from last year. And they haven't really done anything yet, but somebody came around to check on the permit and what they've been doing out of the blue. So I think maybe they're doing some checking this summer. Just come.
I noticed too, there's been 40 applications for Shuttle up here.
Shuttle.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Because the quarry, isn't that, or am I wrong? And it's not just like a rock, it's can be various things, can it not?
I don't know.
Okay, me neither, that's why I looked at you, you're looking at me with the same look. So we'll just leave it, we'll research it and get back. I don't know.
Something with granite, not a shuttle. That,
Maybe.
which wasn't like gravel or anything. but
That's what I mean, it's something that you can do,
I think it had to do with granite, I don't know.
yeah.
And they would access that through the highway, or would they
It's
come
down,
through
you
Prince
go
of
off
Wales?
Prince of Wales and then go to the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right along.
But you used to enter from the highway,
Pardon?
used to enter from the highway years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
across from the Irving, nobody knows where that is.
Yeah.
No.
I know where that Irving
It
was.
the Irving and the bridge, actually.
Yeah.
It was sort of on that corner and you went up a steep dirt road.
Yeah, that was the old driveway too.
Yeah.
You want us to, I was gonna say, you wanna throw the year right there now, just to make ages all?
No.
Okay. All those, no further questions on that report? Okay, all those in favor? Want to remind it? Motion carried. Public Safety Fire Department June report is attached, and I'll look for a motion to accept that report.
I moved to accept the fire department report.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunier, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Questions on the motion? All those in favor? Want to remind it, seeing none, motion carried. Economic Development, Synergy, June report is attached. And any question or motion, I guess, first on that? Accept that report,
Make a motion to accept the report as submitted.
seconded by Councillor Bent. Questions on the motion?
I just have a question on the report and has there been any clarification about what happened with the after-school program?
Yes, I had a meeting with them. We did, Brian and I did.
Yes.
And then I had a follow-up meeting with one of their program directors. It really came down to, from their perspective, is they kind of started off too late
Okay.
to get the numbers that they needed to make it financially viable. The other part of that, and I mean, from what we've heard here, was people were really hoping for a year-round program. And how without that commitment, people weren't willing to take their children out of regular daycare to put them into after-school programming and risk losing the daycare, right? So it was. So they have agreed to give it another shot in September. They are, when I was speaking with Angela, I believe her name is, from the Y, they had already 5 kids registered, which is what they needed to give it a go. And they haven't committed, to my knowledge, to year-round, but, or year-round licensed daycare. They haven't committed to that, but they have committed to doing some programming here during the summer, actually, not this week coming because we're having the playground redone. The following week on Wednesday, they'll be offering a drop-in program here. So,
Oh, nice.
just waiting for their poster to come actually. So they're gonna try to circle or cycle through the community to add drop-in days, so to gauge people's interest and get a chance to talk to parents.
That's a good one.
So,
Thank you.
So I would look for that online on our social media, for those that are watching, and 2, make sure you register for the program, because registering for the program, and if we get success from this program, same as we thought last year, that this will be the kind of the step up to the community complex. That's the hope anyway. So we get good results from this, then that could lead into something bigger and better for the community complex. But if there's no interest in this and second time around, then, it may deter things one way or the other. So I would suggest people sign up.
just an extra note, was talking with, I keep wanting to call her Angela, I could be wrong. They did give permission to use the school on PD days. So not snow days, because the school wouldn't potentially be cleared out in time, but for professional development days, when the kids normally wouldn't have school, they have permission to still use the space to provide childcare. So that helps parents that might need that.
I have a question, on the report, and maybe this is something Brian would have to answer, but I met with the developer to discuss opportunities. Same developer we've been discussing.
Yes, the same one we discussed last month.
Okay,
We had a follow-up with the planner and then.
and the port days, the follow-up with the port days.
Still trying to schedule a meeting with the tourism coordinator. I did reach back out again to say, hey, we're still waiting for a confirmation of a meeting and haven't heard back.
That's not a particular company, but yet
Is with the port,
it's with the port itself.
yeah, and I think there is a company name there too.
Yeah.
Kind of the go-between,
That's good, yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
I'm not good with names, I apologize.
And then just quickly on that, because I know it's in there, so I mean, and it's all online or on site now, so people can access it anyway. The clinic that Brian speaks about, and there's a couple things, one approaching A and B for the building. I don't think that will be a go. So, and that's just my own personal thing, because it's been tried before. That building was designed to do that. But there's other things there now that I don't think they will. So I suggested, and even again today, is that we use this building to some degree, and I'm hoping in the next couple weeks to meet with the doctor at the St. Andrews Wellness Clinic. I like her program, and I think if we could meet and work something out with what she's doing there for here as a pilot project, I think that would work pretty good. And again, spoke with Dr. Dornan quickly at the night that we had the meeting.
He'd be agreeable, I don't want us going against what Horizon plans on doing. Exactly, I know it may take time, but.
So
I have to work with them, not against them.
So the model, and I don't want to get too much into it because it's a bigger meeting, but Horizon and the wellness clinic in St. Andrews is kind of two different models.
So it's,
So, I mean, they work together, but it's two different models, so, yeah, so I think there's more meetings to be had, but I think a pilot project to some sorts here would be beneficial, and how that looks right now, I think between Brian, Linda, or Synergy and me, and like everybody's kind of trying to come up with something to present to council that would be workable, but I just gotta remember there's more models out there than Horizon. So,
And I did share with you today a template for
Yeah.
what that report would look like. It's just I want to get the development incentives kind of off our plates either way, and then kind of ask Brian to go full steam ahead on the collaborative care review. Just so we don't get too many irons in the
there's
fire.
more coming, I just don't wanna leave everybody hanging, but I know it's in there on his report that I think it's going to look a little different than just putting it in a report. I think it's gonna involve a little bit more. So, no, and I appreciate the work Ryan and Linda's actually doing on it. I think we're gonna come out with something that's gonna be
Mhm.
pretty decent. And again, it'll be a pilot project, we're hoping, in conjunction with Department of Health to some degree. And that pilot project, if works, then it could transpire next year or into the community complex. So same as the daycare. So that's the hope, is if we get things rolling now, then it'll develop into bigger. All right. So I'm saying that, any other questions on the economic development? All those in favor, contrary minded? You're carried. Recreation,
There was no report provided.
no report. Sure. Standing committee reports, we have went through them all, public safety, no meetings right as of yet, but we did just put an item on the agenda for approval here in a bit. That'll be up under new business. Correspondence. We received a letter from the Canadian Postmasters and Assistants Association, CPAA. From Eugene Verdon, President, the Maritime Branch of CPAA. The attached to tonight's agenda is the letter. And how does council want to proceed? Because I think it was asking for support.
The
I
union
didn't
wants
turn
our
it in.
support, is that correct?
I've
But
got
that-
right here.
The union wants basically,
Yeah, so this is a
Like,
different, so there's two different unions, yeah. Within Canada Post.
and it's more rural post office.
This one is more rural and for the post, like,
The building, like the post office.
yeah, the building.
Physical building. we
Yeah,
have.
where Cup W is like the bigger facilities and the carriers and the, yeah. And I think they're just asking just for the acknowledgement support, I believe, was it not?
They're asking for our support if we're contacted by Canada Post by service changes. So they would like for council to speak to maintaining the rural service like we have it,
We have no.
yeah, if we're contacted.
So I guess. If I correct me if I'm wrong, but I just am looking for council's input because I would assume probably it would be either be Linda or myself that would be. Contacted, or you guys may be contacted, but we would be speaking out nay or yay, right? So I guess I'm just looking for council's
Nice, yeah.
advice on what you would like to see. 'Cause I have
Personally, I
no
think
problem.
we should maintain the post office if they,
I agree.
it gets centralized to St. John, then our postal services can be.
Yeah, just speaking for parcels being delivered and so on, or picked up, but, if you wanna mail something out. Go to St. John, can be a unnecessary trip.
Is that the feeling?
That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
no, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to speak out on something with council being, not having consensus or not
Sometimes if it goes
agreement.
too large, then you lose a lot. Something like television services, like we had individual TV stations and everything in the city and reporters, and now everything comes. It all moved to Halifax, so now we have no local news on the weekend. We don't have anything like that, and the same thing would happen. Yeah, it's just my opinion.
Well, that's fair. So am I getting the feeling from everybody that just if they reach out that we,
I wanna keep it here, but I have, I'm torn a little bit, but only because. How do I put it, we don't get a lot of cooperation per se with the post office, like putting up posters or things like that becomes an issue. And so I'm a little torn, but I agree that we need to keep it.
so I'm wondering on that issue, is that something is it Canada Post policy not to have something in their post office because ours is new and nobody's really pushed that to have something put in place to do it? That's what I don't know.
I don't
Is that
know.
what you
Yeah.
have, boxes?
No, I didn't mean, either or.
Or like the boxes will be more.
It'd be great to
federal.
have a community bulletin board in the post office where
Yes.
people go, kind of thing.
Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, we could always send a letter or note or have a discussion with the local post office to put that, or our contact regionally that we used before. To say, here's what we'd like to see, and if they were to say, we'll work with you or whatever, then that might be the easy route. And if they said no, and here's what, maybe supporting the union or going to the union to push for that in there. Because sometimes they put things like that in their collective agreements that, that has to be there. So and again, I don't know, I don't want to speak on the president's behalf, but that could be a conversation.
That's my
Yeah,
only
no, and
concern.
that's.
Yeah.
But in general, I guess, in the context of his letter, I guess I'm feeling consensus to. If it happens, it may not even happen at the call. All right. Thank you, everyone. Correspondence issued, other than emails we had.
And the letters to the service commission.
Right, and those two letters have not went out yet. I actually emailed the executive director today asking for his signature to send them back to us so we could get them issued. So I'm hoping I follow up again tomorrow on those two letters. Approval of payments, general government, June 26, 2025. I'm looking for a motion.
There was also the supplemental list, that just had one invoice to JLT, I believe, for JRT for porta potties and hand wash stations for the community days.
Right, so the motion would include that addition. Yep.
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
I'll second it.
Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Approval of accounts, expense report, June 26, 2025. Looking for a motion to accept that.
Motion, please.
Moved by Councillor Gilly, second by Councillor Brent. Questions on the motion? Yep.
I have a lot more than her. Thank you for coming late. I don't think we need to go on the line number, but donations to organizations, we had 10,000 budget.
Mhm.
This 10,000, did we not give it, or does that come from a different line?
No, you need a grant for the Fundy Bay 50+ Club. I told them when they were ready to do it, to let me know when I would cut the check.
Oh, okay, so we still physically have.
Yeah, we still have the funding, it's just, it's been committed to them.
Okay, and. there's another one. I can find it, I apologize. The vehicle insurance.
Oh,
Yeah, for
Quite a bit.
for the choir?
Yeah.
There was, what happened? The province sent us a bill last month and it was in the package, but it was for insurance for 2024 on those trucks because it was the transition year. We will be hit again, so everybody's aware on the buildings. Because the province has not been expedient in the process of transitioning those into our name. So we will get hit with another bill.
For the buildings plus.
Yeah.
Trucks, or this is it for the.
That should be it for the truck. We should actually be getting a portion of that reimbursed.
Okay,
Because I told them, we registered the trucks in June. We shouldn't have to pay for the whole year.
right.
And the argument was, well, we didn't know you registered the trucks. It's like, you gave me the papers
To register.
to register the trucks, and we went and registered them. So we will be getting a portion of that refunded. But we will be getting a bill for the buildings. That won't be refunded because technically those two fire halls are still in the province's name. Even though we are insuring them ourselves. There was a delay in property access in Station 2. And the province did get that resolved in May of this year, or April, I think, actually, and we're just waiting for the deeds.
Like we should have to live for our money that we paid.
Yeah,
Was there insurance?
believe me, that idea was tossed in there.
And the other one I had was the environmental trust fund project.
Yes,
So we hadn't budgeted for it, or we.
that's just the expense portion of it. The revenue portion, we got everything back that we spent.
Okay,
Plus, received money back for one of the trips I had to make to Fredericton for a meeting. Another organization paid for that.
okay.
So yeah, that was just the expense, so the revenue had been received.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on the expense report?
I'm really glad I can answer.
I do have something under new business that I'll speak on. I don't need it to be added, but it was actually correspondence sent out today. For the fire.
Oh, right.
Questions, not all done. All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried. New business, 12A, New River Beach, Musquash 18th.
I just want to say I'm thrilled not to see the sewerage commission.
I've got to check on my desk. I actually
Yeah.
have to have them come in and sign off on it for 2023 and 2024.
Don't jinx it. So far, so good, knock on wood.
Yeah.
New business, New River Beach Musquash ATV Club request. Synergy and CAO Brown met with Musquash ATV and Quad NB. The discussion was around access of ATVs to New River Beach. Under the act governing the parks, ATVs are not permitted on the property. However, they have requested that we request they conduct a pilot program to allow ATVs to use to see if it can increase users and revenue of the area.
So who requested it?
The original request came from Musquash ATV Club and Quad NB. Because part of it is, they were requesting a highway usage permit to get to that property. But you can't get a highway usage permit unless you have a destination. So you have to have one before they'll give you the other.
Okay, but do we have the ability to grant them access to the park?
We're asking for the province to grant them access. We don't have that because it's not our property.
Okay, so they're asking us to ask the province.
Yes,
Okay, that's okay, it was unclear to me.
Sorry.
And that
Yeah.
access is just to the part above the actual beach.
it's not
on
the beach,
No.
it's the park,
Okay.
like
So it would be
the campground.
the park, campground, canteen,
Right,
that,
Area.
that
the
area.
road, the
Yep,
roadways in the park.
that area. So I guess so in asking that, I would be asking council, for a motion. And to support, that request or not, but I would need a motion to that effect.
I guess I don't mind making the motion, I shouldn't say assuming that everybody's got the proper equipment on their bikes and following the laws and.
So, I don't know, maybe I just want to explain the motion again. If that's- So just on making a motion, the motion's not accepting at this point or not, it's just making a motion so we can have a further discussion if council chooses on this topic. Then it goes to the vote, and if you vote, then you can vote yea or nay of how you want it.
No,
Is
I
it a
could say
motion
I was
for
gonna
a
say-
pilot project?
my understanding, it's, and this is me, is council would be requesting the Department of Tourism to grant of access to the park to, Quad NB and the Musquash ATV Club, which is a member of Quad NB.
Right,
But it's still provincial property, it's still their responsibility. I mean, Quad NB and everybody, like, there's legislation of what they're supposed to have for insurance, but I mean, that's all on them. It's just council can either say they think it's a good idea or they don't think it's a good idea. That's kind of what this
right,
is.
but the motion is not at this point accepting or not accepting until we have a motion to the mover and seconder. And then voting on it,
Okay, so the motion is that.
because I would still need a motion to get it.
We support
Approach.
the request, basically,
The province.
council support.
Supports the request.
Yes.
Glad we all confused each other a little bit.
Maybe we should table this until we have more information, like, why did they want to go on the campground to actually pitch?
So we
something like
can't-
Yeah, that-
So we can't table it yet because we have to make a motion to get it to that level. I guess that's what I was saying is you have to have a motion
To discuss.
to discuss it. So we can't really debate or discuss it yet until we actually have a motion.
So I will make the motion that council, approach the, government about allowing ATVs, to the roadways of the park.
So motion moves, seconded by
I'll second.
Councilor Deely. Now questions on the motion.
I have a question, right? How are they accessing the park? Like,
If
is
they-
there a trail there they go
It would,
down?
I think it's Detour Road,
Yeah.
they would come down and then go across the 175.
Yeah,
to
so
the
they're not
park.
gonna be going up and down the highway to get to the park.
No, it's just,
Well,
it's
the
just
only-
access to cross the road.
The only access would be to cross the old highway. the one
Right, and then go
seventy-five.
in the new.
And then going in by Michael's, I guess that, I don't know.
Right.
No, they'd probably be going in by the old ones.
Yeah,
And
I
then you-
think
That's what I mean,
so.
well, Michael's,
Yeah.
yeah, Michael's is right there.
Yeah,
So they
and
come
they,
in that way.
I don't think they've gotten permission even to use Detour Road at this point, because they don't have a destination at the end.
Right.
Like, which would be the park.
So
So
they have to get that first before.
They have to get permission to use the
So
park
if
before they
we
can get it.
pursue that in the motion to get that as the destination, then they could get the approval because then they have a spot to go to.
Yeah.
Similar to what they did in Eastern Charlotte.
Yep.
Same thing,
Or to go to Longbow store. for
Yeah.
newborns.
same.
Okay, cause they are currently going down roads.
But right
Just trying to make it
now,
legal.
Just-
yeah, so right now,
Jeez.
but right now it's, yeah, it's illegal. So this would somehow make it legal that as long as they have their helmets, they're registered, they're a bike club user, like all that stuff's in place,
Mhm.
then they could,
So it'd be just the bike clubs using it, or would anybody be able to use that?
They would have to be under quad NB to be covered.
But the ATV, I know when we were looking at coastal.
Coastal Lane.
They had a lot of complaints, well, that's our trail, you can't go on it, so if all of a sudden. They make how does that affect us? I think I'd like to see the motion table until we have full details on their intent.
because it would be used through Quad NB, it'd be the same as they're doing now in Eastern Charlotte. It would be the same, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure.
Not on
that's-
the, it's getting them permission to go from a trail system to
The park.
the park.
And that's what they have in Eastern Charlotte.
So do
Oh, okay, I see.
individuals have access to those trails as well?
Hmm,
Do individual
as they have
bikes that aren't part of Musqueam Bike Club have access?
So they would have to have a trail pass or through
But
Quad
some people-
NB,
Yeah, oh,
because Quad NB, after this is all said and done, if I'm not mistaken, the same as Eastern Charlotte, is Quad NB takes over from there. They're just looking for us for the support as a government to get government to come on board with it, and then they look after it. It's all Quad NB, because I know in Eastern Charlotte, Quad NB or that club quite a bit puts it out there of, you need to have your helmet and make sure you're going the
Right.
speed limit.
Yeah.
Because they want to monitor it themselves to make sure it's being utilized correctly. So that right's not taken away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to get in, the primary reasoning for it is they want to get in to be able to eat at the takeout or get something,
That's what
then go
I'm
back
saying,
out
this
onto
is
the
just
trail.
the club itself, or can individuals go too?
So it would be, I don't want to really say one club, because it would be Quad NB,
Quad
which is all clubs.
provincial.
So as long as you had a Quad NB
Does
sticker,
everybody going have to have a trail pass?
If you're driving on
Trails.
if you're supposed to.
But if you're driving, if you were, yeah.
If you're from Charlotte County, though, you'd have to have a pass to get on the Musquash ATV Club, would you know?
Yeah. It's provincial. When you buy a trail pass.
Well, you buy them
They'd be
from
able
your
to-
club because the money goes back, so I have a trail pass, so I buy it from Musquash. And the money, but it's through Quad NB, so it's a provincial pass, but the club gets a portion of that money that stays with the club, so each club
Maintains the road.
maintains their trail system. But I'm allowed to utilize all the trails because I have that pass on my bike.
So could cars still go up the detour road?
No, it doesn't take
Oh,
away
yeah.
anybody's access. It just
Okay.
grants them,
It's something I can Grand Bay, the main street in Grand Bay. Four-wheelers have
Yeah.
access to that street. They're allowed to drive their four-wheelers.
So
up
Eastern
that-
Charlotte's
yeah,
the same.
trails.
So Eastern Charlotte, they're allowed to go right up Main Street, as long as they do the speed limit, they have a Quad NB sticker. And they have their helmet on, they're following all the rules of the
So
road.
it's Quad NB sticker.
Yep, so
Yeah.
Quad NB would take over,
And that would cover everybody.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
as an ATV or whatever.
Yeah.
Policing's done by Quad ND, or is that?
they try to do a lot of
Right.
self-policing. It wouldn't be us because we don't have a police force. It's the RCMP, right? So
We need,
it would be self-policing plus anything the RCMP.
So Eastern Charlotte has, their ATV club that helps monitor, is Musquash ATV Club willing to do that?
They were part of the ones that made the.
yeah, I would, and that would only be an assumption, but I would assume. they would, and it would be no different than if it was in place and council got complaints on it, that we would approach the ATV club and they would do, as Linda said, some self-policing, self-advertising. And at the end of the day, I know in other places that the RCMP see you going up detour, they pull you over, and you don't have any of that stuff built, then you're going to be charged just like you would on a regular day. But if you have your club pass, your helmet, you're doing the speed limit, then they're gonna say, oh, your government or whatever made that, and away you go.
And would this only be open during, I'm assuming that,
Park hours.
well, park hours, but not only that, but then you have canteens only open for so long. Season, right? If by the season. so-
Well, it would only be during, well, technically, they wouldn't be allowed to have access to the park if the park wasn't open. No, because nobody does.
But then that doesn't allow them to come off the road.
That's from May
And then the other
15th to
issue-
October the 15th.
The other issue is the parking. We're already having issues where residents are complaining about parking. Where are you putting extra bikes? Are they building a parking lot for the bikes, or are they just gonna park on the road?
I can't say that was
They all-
discussed if it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, but that's concern, you know, you almost have to have a separate section in a parking lot, can't leave a four-wheeler sitting on the side of the road. Could get stolen, so there's that portion to think about,
Just not be first come, first served, same as any other parking spot.
They have to pay $17 to park there, is that?
right,
true?
yeah, there's a parking fee.
Yeah.
I mean, you're parking inside the park, if not, you're parking on the side of the road and.
So, and again, it would only be an assumption, but my assumption, I guess, and I know I shouldn't be making a lot of them. But that's what it would be, is if they do all of this and get their 1, 5, what, how many, they get to the park, they would be treated, I'm assuming, like any other vehicle. That they would have to pay the fee to go into park and do what they're gonna do and.
Unless they're going to a restaurant, then they don't have to pay.
Right.
And those types of logistics
Mhm.
would all be the responsibility of the province.
In the province.
Okay.
This would just, the request is just council asking that it be considered.
I also look at it on the other end, think about how, you know, how they could promote, because other places in the province that you go, you can put your tent on the back of your bike, you can go camping, you can go get your gas, go get your meal. That would be perfect that way if there was availability to do camping and whatnot, you know, people can come from anywhere and bring a bike and do
And I can only speak from what I know, and I know that. On the economic side of it, as far as, I'll just say the takeout, if that's where they're going. I know in Eastern Charlotte or even Penfield. That they seen a big upswing of the last year and probably this year too, of bikes. Because usually when the bikes go, especially the clubs or the groups, they go in a group for like a whole weekend and they plan it, right? We're going to New River Takeout next weekend for Saturday and there's gonna be 30 of us, so they give kind of advance warning and they give, we're gonna be coming, and so it's.
that's a big money.
Well, yeah, and especially for a small takeout in like in New River, I think it's. So anyway, that's, as to Linda's point, I think this is just to get it on their radar to see what they can do. So if everybody's comfortable with that, oh, that's okay, if you're not,
It's, I just feel how many times in your conversations about this did you just say, I assume? And we're all assuming certain things. I would like to see it laid out that this is what they're worth, so we know and we're not assuming.
but I don't think we can get to that point until we get to at least the government saying, yeah, we're willing to look at it, because I don't think anybody's gonna come to a meeting and say, here's what we're gonna put in
Okay.
place, because at the end of the day, even doing that, you're still gonna have assumptions, because we can say, well, you know, we'll put 10 parking spots here for ATVs, and you might get 30, or you might get 1. Like, I don't think there's gonna be any black and white, there's still gonna be a gray area, but we're not gonna get to that point if we can't get government to acknowledge that it should happen.
Yes, certainly not wrong to try to get acknowledgement.
And I think that's what this is for,
Right.
just
They
to.
just wanna get that acknowledgement first and
Yeah.
go forward and have meetings.
And I think if they get this acknowledgement, then we could come back, or they could go to the table and say, now, here's what we'll do. Does that make it a little better? Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, So all those in favor?
I.
I seen your hand.
Feels like this.
Contrary minded? Yeah, you can't go 50-50 now. Motion carried. All right, 12B. I'm not gonna say that, it's the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder proclamation. New Brunswick FASD Center of Excellence with the Vitality Health Network is asking council to declare September 9th as FASB Awareness Day. So I'll be looking for a motion from council for me to make that proclamation.
Make a motion to, for you to make the proclamation.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Sonia. She's on a roll. I'm gonna keep you going. Questions on the motion? I
They did not provide a proclamation, just.
no, and I had two questions on that, so we can either go by what's here. Or do they want the proclamation now or just declare September 9th FASB Awareness Day or wait until?
You can just
The
FASB,
next.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
But yes, you can just declare that now, and they just wanted a response to let them know that. they
Yeah.
had done it.
No, and that would be the easiest because it is in September, so we got time, but, so yeah, I have no problem declaring September 9th as FASD Awareness Day.
Was there a vote?
There is now, all those in favor of that proclamation? Contrary minded? See, I'm too relaxed for this council. Next one coming in is gonna be a whole lot different. I bet. I'll be watching.
It's,
Yes, so new business, I still have two here. First one, appointment to the Public Safety Committee. There is a new member that reached out to us asking to join the Public Safety Committee. I am going to mess up the name. Do you know it? Jolanta Kluwer?
Yep.
Am I close? I apologize to her already. Of Mesas Bay, participated in the EMO committee while living in Grand Bay Westfield, and she would now like the opportunity to serve Fundy Shores in a similar capacity and has asked to be put on to the Public Safety Committee. So I'd be looking for a motion from council to accept her.
I move that we accept.
Nice.
Belmont.
Second, Deputy Mayor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor. Yeah. Oh, we're going way too fast, that's why.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Sonia, seconded. You got that?
Yes.
Okay, questions on the motion? Everybody's good? So saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this will be 7. That's gonna mean. All right, all those in favor?
I.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. UMNB resolution. This was,
Piece of that?
yeah, this was a last minute thing that we worked on, or Linda worked on, I guess that came out of our meeting today. So I will let Linda discuss it quickly, a little bit.
Quickly, just for a little bit. Make her snappy. No, we had the UMMB meeting today with Brianna and went over their findings from developing new rural communities, what they heard. And one of the things that was discussed was actually on page 3, local government navigator. And technically, they used to have municipal advisors back in the day when I started. And I think they, like through attrition and moving people around, those positions were no longer available.
Is that what we had when?
No, this was something different. You're thinking when?
Yes.
No,
What this person does actually is that it's a position in Fredericton, or what they did. It was a position in Fredericton, and if a counselor or a CAO clerk, somebody in the municipal realm ran into an issue or needed help getting through an act or understanding what an act meant or what the intention behind it was, or they needed help communicating with other members in the province, they would reach out to this communicator or advisor, sorry. It was either Martin Corbett or Ivan Corbett back in the day, and Brenda Knight, who, she was a clerk in oh gracious, Saint Stephen, then Nathawick, and then she went into this municipal advisor role, and then, she was actually the city clerk for Fredericton. And just those positions were taken away in the mid-2010s. And, now it come out in the UMMB report that they would like to see a local government navigator, to be a first point of contact for the community officials or staff to support, professions across, with supports to the other professions across the GNB departments. So it was something that already existed years ago, and, they're just saying they would like to see something like that again. So I did draft a potential proclamation, or not proclamation, resolution that council could put before UMNB. If that was of any interest.
I think with the reform, those positions, that position should have already been
automatically
automatically.
It was interesting when I was talking with Amy, from UMNB, she's like, she wasn't aware that those positions actually existed. Back in the day. Because she's only been there for a couple of years, but, she said she was surprised that they weren't rejuvenated during this process. But yeah, and I think, you know what, if they were, it might have eliminated some of the problems that other municipalities are having.
Possible. And the cost for that would be.
Bore by the province.
What about the RSC? Do they play into this?
The RSCs didn't exist when these positions were available.
I realize that, but
So are they taking the place? of
Are they
those
supposed to be our
positions?
advisor?
No, the RSC is supposed to be their own independent organization like they are, their
so
own board
they
of
shouldn't
directors.
have anything to do with this. project.
In my position, this navigator would be a provincial employee. And that's kind of how the
So would they
resolution
would that
drafted.
person navigate if say we had a problem?
Yeah, they would help
They
us,
would help us deal with it.
or help us, they would say, hey, you know, you do have a code of conduct bylaw, this is what it says, this is what the intent behind the act is. And I'm gonna help direct you to that, the local governance department that reviews behaviors. Or whatever.
They're kind of like the go-between.
Between government.
do- Because that was my fears, I didn't want to add another layer of bureaucracy onto something that we're gonna get bogged down even more, that I want something.
It's essentially a staffer that is a provincial staff member that works with municipalities on the regular with issues. It was, like I said, taken out in the mid-2010s. If that, maybe early 2010s, and Nova Scotia still actively uses them, Alberta still actively uses them. So as employees that I know when I started in Nova Scotia, Jason, the municipal advisor, landed in my office to like help support me through a few of the issues that we were having, just to make sure I kind of landed on my feet.
Sounds good.
As long as the RSC doesn't end up charging us.
So this would be wholly the
Separate.
board by the province.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So is everybody okay? I don't need a motion.
well, I
I
would,
mean, it's.
the motion would be to put this resolution before UMNB.
I move that we put this resolution before UMNB.
That's a mouthful.
And just as a note on that, is the motion as written is already, or not the motion, the resolution was sent back, it was sent to me and to Amy and.
Yeah, just to get their
both-
opinions.
Everybody agreed that it was okay as is, so just for, yeah.
She said simple and to the point. I hope that means that's okay.
So we'll, if once approved here, we'll bring this to the fall in St. John. That'll, okay. So moved by Deputy Mayor Saunier, seconded by Councillor Bent. Questions or further questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, contrary minded? Seeing none, motion carried. So that will go. Did I miss anything? I have one last thing that I want to speak on quick, no, it shouldn't be quickly, but. So I did issue a letter today to Musquash Fire Department or to Chief Paula. To acknowledge, which they have, I'm told that this Monday that just went by's meeting. Firefighter Justin Carboni. I'm sure everybody's aware, and if you're not, there was a house fire in Maces Bay on Welch Cove Road last week. And firefighter Carboni, was one of the first on scene and went in the house to actually get the resident out. The house was fully engulfed and, the owner lost everything. So, I did issue a letter. It took a little time because in these things, it's a sensitive matter for all involved and it's, a lot of information gathering that before we do anything, we want to make sure that all the facts are right and there. So, yeah, so I just want to, on behalf of council and staff, of Fundy Shores to sincerely thank them. I did that in a letter. Was it uploaded to?
No, I didn't.
So I will send it out to council tonight. It was kind of, we had a bunch on the go today, so that was sent out. So I don't know if he's got it yet or this week, but I'm hoping to actually issue it too as almost like a letter media release onto our social media as well. So, yeah, so huge thank you to him for the job he did, but also to, because Deanna's learning off, so kind of, but to all the firefighters in Musquash that serve Fundy Shores, that's just another reminder of how well served we are and how much of a benefit that having such professionals in our community. It's,
There's a letter, if you want to read it.
oh, yeah, I can read it. So this was issued to Justin, so I did firefighter Justin Carboni. And I sent it via email to Wayne Pollock, Fire Chief for Musquash Fire Department. Dear Justin, I am writing on behalf of Fundy Shores Council to express my deepest gratitude and admiration for your bravery and selflessness during the recent fire on Welch Cove Road. Your heroic actions not only saved lives, but also exemplified the high standards of courage and dedication. In the face of danger, you demonstrated remarkable composure and skill, ensuring the safety of your fellow neighbors. Your commitment protecting our community is truly inspiring, and we are incredibly fortunate to have you serving our community with Musquash Fire Department. Your actions have not gone unnoticed, and I want to personally thank you on behalf of council, staff, and the residents of Fundy Shores for your unwavering dedication and the sacrifices you make daily. Your bravery serves as a beacon of hope and strength for all of us. Please know that your efforts are deeply appreciated and will always be remembered. And I kind of get a little emotional. Because I not only know the job they do well, I actually know the residents that were there and the family. So yeah, so again, it's well noted, and I'm hoping, I know Fire Chief and them have recognized him and there'll be further stuff coming up throughout the year, and I'm hoping at some point we'll have more discussions here at council on what we can do as time goes on to, other than just a letter. A letter, I'm sure is okay, but I think it's more deserving of something else than just a letter. So yeah, so once again, thanks to firefighter Carboni. Even though there was a loss to home and other stuff, there was lives that were actually saved, and we're grateful. And with that, I don't think, other than our next meetings, tomorrow night, here at 6 p.m. is the Community Complex Needs Assessment Committee at the community building here, and our committee of the whole is at the community building here on July 16th at 6 p.m. And I believe that's everything, unless anybody has any comments. I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Oh,
I'll
seconded by Deputy Mayor. All those in favor?
You didn't ask if there were any questions.
I didn't think there was, but I will ask. Is there any questions? We can have some. No? All those in favor?
Uh,
I
Contrary minded?